The smell of sizzling tortillas and grilled onions filled the narrow street corner where Maya parked her faded red food truck every morning. The truck had dents, the paint was chipped, and the neon sign that once glowed proudly now flickered weakly in the early dawn. Yet, for Maya, it was everything. It wasn't just a food truck, it was survival. She had inherited it from her late father, a man who believed in flavors more than finances, in passion more than profit. He passed away suddenly 2 years ago, leaving Maya with mountains of debt, a broken-hearted mother at home, and a younger brother still in college. Every morning before the city woke, she dragged herself out of bed, tied her hair into a messy bun, and whispered, "Papa, today I'll make you proud." But despite her efforts, business wasn't easy. Customers came and went, some loyal, some rude, and many never returning. Rainy days meant no sales at all. That morning, a long line of office workers began to form, clutching their phones, scrolling emails while waiting for breakfast burritos or tacos. Maya kept her smile, even when exhaustion pulled at her face. She didn't notice the man who stepped into the line, his tailored suit sharp against the casual crowd. He didn't belong there. He was too polished, too calm. His wristwatch alone probably cost more than the entire food truck. But he waited patiently, hands in his pockets, eyes fixed quietly on her. When he reached the front, Maya barely looked up. "What can I get you?" she asked briskly, scribbling down an order for the woman ahead. The man leaned closer, his voice low, gentle. "Still remember me?" Maya froze, the pen slipping from her fingers. She finally looked up, and her world tilted. It was Ethan, the boy from high school, the boy who had sat with her under the bleachers when she cried over her parents fighting, the boy who once walked her home every day so she wouldn't feel afraid, the boy she had secretly loved but never confessed to, because life had already taught her that dreams like him weren't meant for girls like her. But Ethan wasn't a boy anymore. He was a man now. His eyes were the same deep brown, but sharper, wiser. His presence was magnetic. Her lips parted, but no words came. "I'll take whatever you recommend," Ethan added with a soft smile. "Surprise me, Maya." From that moment, her world began to change, though she resisted it with every fiber of her being. Ethan didn't vanish after that day. He returned. Again and again. Always waiting in line, even though someone like him didn't need to. Sometimes he ordered tacos. Sometimes just coffee. But always he came for her. And Maya didn't know how to feel. Part of her was thrilled. This was Ethan, the boy who once meant everything to her. But another part of her hardened. Life had taught her that people with money lived in a different universe. And Ethan, from the snippets she'd overheard from other customers, was no longer just successful. He was the Ethan Cole, the CEO of a fast, growing tech empire. A millionaire, and she was just a girl in a beat-up food truck. The first challenge pried vis. Help one rainy afternoon, business was painfully slow. Maya counted the coins in her jar, barely enough to cover tomorrow's ingredients. Ethan showed up holding an umbrella over her as she struggled to pull the truck's awning. "You look tired," he said softly. "Let me help you." "I don't need your help," Maya snapped, harsher than she meant. Ethan's brows furrowed. "Maya, it's just an umbrella." "No. People like you don't understand. I built this with my own hands. I don't need your pity." Her words hung heavy in the air. Ethan stepped back, hurt flashing across his eyes. He simply nodded, handed her the umbrella anyway, and left without saying another word. That night, Maya cried in the truck, guilt and exhaustion eating her alive. But pride was all she had left, and she clung to it. The second challenge. The past that haunts as weeks passed, Ethan returned. But this time not just as a customer. He lingered. He asked about her brother. He asked about her mother. He remembered details from their childhood that Maya herself had forgotten. Slowly, her walls began to crumble. But then came the night she found a letter taped to her truck. It was from the landlord. Her spot, the only place she could legally park and sell, was being sold to developers. She had 30 days to vacate. Her knees buckled as she read the paper under the dim streetlight. The food truck wasn't just her business. It was her last lifeline. When Ethan saw her crying days later, he offered a solution. "Come work with me. I'll invest in your food business. You have talent, Maya. You deserve more than this." but his words ignited the deepest wound in her heart. She remembered her father's failing restaurant, how investors had pulled out, leaving them bankrupt. She remembered the humiliation, the whispers, the nights her mother cried herself to sleep. She couldn't go through that again. So she pushed Ethan away. "Stop pretending you care. You're just a CEO looking for another project." The look on his face nearly broke her, but she turned her back anyway. The turning point a week later, a food truck rally was announced downtown. Winning meant exposure, press, and even sponsorship. Maya saw it as her last chance. She poured everything into preparing, cooking through the night, ignoring the aching in her arms and the lack of sleep. But when the day came, disaster struck. Her generator broke down mid-service, leaving her unable to cook. Customers left. Her dreams slipped away before her eyes. Then, through the crowd, Ethan appeared. Not in a suit, but in jeans and a hoodie, grease on his hands. He had found an old generator, rigged it, and got her truck running again. "Maya," he said, his voice steady. "I'm not here as a CEO. I'm here as the boy who once promised he'd always have your back. Don't push me away this time." Tears blurred her vision, but she nodded. Together they cooked, served, and by the end of the day, Maya's tacos had people lining up around the block. She didn't win first place, but she won something far greater: belief in herself again. Resolution. Love and new beginnings months later, with Ethan's quiet support. Not money, but encouragement and connections. Maya opened her first small restaurant. Not a flashy one, but warm, filled with photos of her father and handwritten notes from customers. Ethan stood beside her at the opening, not as a savior, but as a partner. Someone who believed in her when she had stopped believing in herself. And one quiet evening, as they locked up the restaurant, Ethan whispered again, "Still remember me?" Maya smiled through tears. "How could I ever forget?" Final message to viewers, friends. This story isn't just about food trucks or CEOs. It's about pride, trust, and second chances. Sometimes, life gives us people who believe in us, even when we've stopped believing in ourselves. Don't push them away. And if you're struggling today, remember, you are stronger than you think, and your breakthrough might be closer than you imagine. If you enjoyed this story, please comment below. Tell me, would you give someone from your past a second chance? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Be Kind Always for more inspiring stories like this, because kindness costs nothing, but it changes everything.